myself, but I am not alone. And today I have a co-host, I have a guest as I usually do on Mondays, and her name is Sikelelwa Vuyeleni. Sikelelwa Vuyeleni is an amazing actress, I must say that. She has been in the industry for more than 10 years now, and we know her from different productions really, and the latest one, it is 1801, Love Defies Time. She plays the character of Dr Nobukhosi, Khosi.
Yes, it is 1802. They would kill me if they let me.
Oh, 1802, my apologies.
Yes, 1802.
1802.
Yeah, thank you. No, it is something. Thank you for having me. Again, it's been lovely being here. The scrutiny. Okay, let's go. What you want to know about me?
Firstly, 10 years. 10 years. Girl,
yeah.
In this industry, it's a lot.
It is. Sure.
What does it mean to you?
Grace, man.
Yeah.
It really means grace, Tolo. Like, God has been so good. It was for me, I think that when I think about it, the realization was just like, oh, it's been 10 years. And then the understanding of that, and then bam, 1802 coming through, bam, adulting come through in the same year.
Yeah.
And I was just like, everything was meant to go the way it has.
Yeah.
And to solidify myself in this industry with my 10th year with this role was just, I can never take the credit for it. Because I think in all of it, God just shows off. Like, he just says, listen, never think that you're in charge. I'm in charge. And that's all it's been for me. It's just been looking at God glorifying himself through my life. Yeah.
So what does it take for an actress to keep it going for this long and beyond?
It's you said something beautiful when we were coming here in the car earlier about understanding seasons, right? Knowing that it's not always going to be grand, it's not always going to be great. You must keep going because the passion is what keeps you going, right? It's important that we do what we love. And I think it's those times where you get to see how much you love what you do, right? How much you want it, how badly you want what you love. And I think it's been that for me, knowing that I am not meant to be anywhere else but here, you know? When you know that, hey man, I don't know who told me what, when, but this is exactly the journey I'm supposed to be on. And yes, no one really promised me a walk in the park, a bed of roses. No, it's always been a thing of, if you believe in it enough and you believe in yourself enough and your source is credible, like God, your family, your community, you'll always win. Honestly, even when the times are dark, when the times are not, when there's no money, when you are hand to mouthy, rent is tough to come by, but you know exactly this is where I'm supposed to be. It will never go wrong, and God will always provide.
And I strongly believe that how we are brought up, creates the people that we are. And I want us to take it back, right, to your childhood. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
I had a very I think I had to adapt, really. I think one thing that comes from my childhood is adapting. I moved around a lot. I was born in Cape Town. When I was 2, I went to the Eastern Cape to live with my grandparents and my mom's siblings. My mom was very young when she had me. So she had to stay in Cape Town and hustle for both of us and for her family. And then when I was like early primary, I went back to Cape Town. And even in Cape Town itself, like I moved around a lot. Like I stayed in one township and then I moved to Gwalanga, moved from Gwalanga to another place. And then from there to another, like it was just a lot. That meant also with schools, right? I'm moving around with schools as well. And what came out of that was really seeing myself mold into each environment that I got to be in. And one thing that my parents did, I don't think they knew exactly what they were doing at the time. I think they were just looking for a better life for themselves and their kids. But the idea of you just starting to get comfortable, you're getting friends, you're moving again, every time, like literally you get to, we're moving again, and that kept happening. And I think I had great experiences with my childhood in terms of that. I made really good friends. They taught me to enjoy the moment, enjoy where you are. This is where you be present here. And as a result, I gained a lot of friends in that time, and I may not be the greatest friend now because I am so good at enjoying where I am, you know, because now I'm going to be a friend of yours now. And next week I'm meeting Bright and I'm with Bright and I'm enjoying Bright as much as I can. And it may come across like I'm not I'm not your friend anymore or whatever. But they help me enjoy the moment and where I'm at and understand that this is where I have to thrive now. And I've been doing that. Yeah, I think that's what my childhood came with. And I think also that helped a lot with who I am now and also the career I'm in. Because it means I can step into different shoes and be different people because I've managed to observe life in different lenses.
Exposed completely. To different environments.
Yeah, and I've had to find myself adjusting as well because with different environments comes different parts of us as well. It requires different things out of us. So I think with that, my childhood was like that, but it was a fairly good childhood. Like I think I wasn't a struggling child. I'm not gonna lie. I think my parents really fought to have me afford an okay life. You know. Yeah. They were good.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
blessed
great.
in that.
Yeah. So as generally young girls, particularly in your teenagehood, there'll be that something, man, that you struggle with, whether it's peer pressure or there'll be something that, hey, you have to survive.
Yeah.
You know, is there something particular that you can share with us that you found yourself having to really struggle with, and how did you manage it?
I think confidence, yes, has always been there with me. And I thank that to my parents again, because as you're saying, how we are raised and how we grow up really has a lot of impact on the people that we are. But I think in the same breath of having that confidence, I think speaking up for me was quite hard for the longest time. Now I couldn't speak up when I had to, when I didn't feel okay about something. I don't know what that was caused by. However, as I grew and I got to engage with drama, that sort of came through. Like I sort of started finding a voice and confidence even to speak in class or speak up in class, because I always thought, hey, I'm not well off enough, or I don't speak the right English, you know, like those little insecurities around life, because kids are mean. You know, kids are really mean. And
they can tell you as it is. They will not package it.
No, they will not filter it. You will know exactly like what they think about you. So I think I had a fair share of those in my primary school years. That sort of got my confidence and then my insecurities up a bit. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know how to speak English properly because I come from a Khosi school. And then I'm now in this multiracial school and I have to sort of adjust. Okay, cool. It is what it is. But I had to once again adapt, because that's the skill that was being pruned in that growing up time. So I had to fight for my life and speak English. And I remember reading a lot in my 2 years of getting into a multiracial school, and that really changed my life. Because when I went to high school, even I was at a colored school, so to speak, and my accent now was a problem. So I knew English now, but my accent was the issue, because it was like, why do you sound like that?
Different from everybody.
I sound like, you saw how I sound now? It was like, why do you sound like that, man? No, why do you speak English like that? So I had to deal with those, and I had to make a choice, right? I had to be like, okay, cool, am I going to fit in and speak this in Cape Town we call it Kham Afrikaans, or Kham English, sorry. So I have to be now speaking like this person now. I don't wanna, you know, and I had to decide, am I gonna do that, or am I gonna speak English this way? And I chose this way because I'm like, this is gonna take me everywhere else where you won't identify me, okay, and say this is where you're from because you speak in that way. So those were like my kind of insecure times growing up, where I had to make those decisions with peer pressure as well, to come across as a certain person and just stay true to who I am. So I fought for that. And
did such things expose you to be bullied?
You know what? I think with my bold voice sometimes, or like my confidence, I could camouflage to be like, okay, I could act like I've got the confidence when I don't, you know. Don't try and come at me. But in high school, you know, this thing of wanting to be just good in your books and learning, and then you get those ones that don't want, and then now because you're doing well, they like, in fact, who do you think you are? So I had a bit of a glimpse there of bullying when I was in grade 10 in a new school. So I think also that made me quite vulnerable because I was new. And I got to the school and this girl was just like, who do you think you are? You getting good marks here in these subjects and you think you can, yeah. I was like, yeah. And I almost had a fight after school this one time. But I'm not a fighter, you know, I'm a lover. So I had to balance it well. And I had friends that had my back, you know, and of course, it was a Friday, and on Monday, my parents were there, and were like, "You're not gonna do that to our child." And I was like, "Yes." So I got saved, and I was never bullied again.
Yeah. Siblings?
I do have siblings. I've got I don't have a blended family, but I do have siblings from both ends. I've got a 17 years younger little sister. Love of my life. It feels like she's my child.
You must see the smile on her face when she speaks. Like you can see, it's like from the bottom of her heart.
Listen, that's my sunshine. That's my heartbeat. And I think God was very merciful in doing that, because all my other siblings, that I didn't grow up with them, or we didn't have a close-knit relationship of growing up. Because on my dad's side, there's 5 of us, and I'm the second born.
Okay.
I've got 3 brothers and 1 other sister. With my little sister, which is my youngest sibling, I've really just seen God's love, you know, because kids will love, man. Kids will love.
Look,
she lets up
unconditionally.
Yes, that's where you see God. Honestly, where it doesn't matter if you are bored, if you are tired, but this person will love you through it all, and that's what God has granted me with my little sister. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, that's 6. She is Sikelelwa. We know her recently from 1802 Love Defies Time as Dr Nobukhosi, Khosi Ube, and she's been around, man, and in different productions. She's played different characters at Moja Love, telenovela, House of Zwide, but we're gonna talk about her work stuff. Just after this music break, we're gonna go back into that, because we're just getting to know what her childhood was like. With my guest today, we've co-hosted the show when we began the show, and her name is Sikelelwa Vuyeleni. You know her as 6. Yeah.
Period.
And the other one?
And I'm 6, a girl in my streets.
Exactly. There she is. So before we went for a music break, we just got to understand her background in terms of her childhood. And so, you know, I always get curious to say, because you do well in what you do. And for me is, who are some of the people that you have found that they inspire you, you know, growing up or even now, that, you know, there are those moments that you draw inspiration from even?
You know what? For this acting thing, I actually never thought I wanted to act. Firstly, it was never like my childhood dream. I never thought, this is what I know. So I wouldn't lie and say that I looked at or I watched television and I was like, oh my God, one day I want to be like that person. But I mean, sure, I enjoyed shows like back in the day of Velapi, and I think there was an era there. Abakofile, Abakofile or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, we had those Friday shows that we would never miss. Like, would literally leave school like around 10 to 1, because at 1 it started, and we just go in. Season on. I really enjoyed those. And Generations was also quite a big part of my life as well. But once I got to know that, okay, cool, this is what I love doing. One of the people that really stood out and still makes a mark in my heart right now is Tuso. As young as she is, I think also maybe that's what makes it even better. To know that I can point at someone that is not too far from me and see them like just really make the mark. And literally, she's been since it's tunes. In fact, no, since Saints and Sinners. That's where I got to know her or get to meet her. And I was like, who is this girl? And from there, it's been magic. It's really been magic. I've really enjoyed watching her rise, and she's an inspiration to a lot of us. And I think to also just go beyond the acting and even go beyond our borders with it. She's the one for me.
Okay, amazing stuff. I want us to take it back to grade 11 at the Refier Secondary School.
That's where it's at. That's where the juice was at.
Tell us about that moment, because I understand that's where everything was unearthed as an actress.
So God is good, hey? God is very magical sometimes. Because without even intending to, I went to 2 high schools. One was Bella High, and the second one was Defies Secondary. Both those schools were arts and culture focused schools, and drama was a subject. And it was never intentional, which is so weird for me. But drama found me, and let's say grade 11, let's not do years. Next thing you know, you are counting my age.
Exactly.
So grade 11 was when the first show that I got to be on aired. But I started shooting it the year before that, which was a grade 10 year for me. And that's where I got to realize that, okay, cool, this is where the money is at in terms of like me, really my heart, where it comes alive. Because I stepped on set for the very first time. I had a street kid role, by the way.
Okay.
Look at what life does, you know? I started off as a street kid. I'm on a show called Traffic, which was on ETV. And it was a police drama. And I got a role that I was not even there to audition for. I got there and the director that was in the room was like, actually, I see you for something else. Do you mind just learning the script quickly? Can you learn the script? I'm like, who are you talking to, girl? Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Bring it on.
Like, bring it on. And I did that for 5 minutes. And another thing, my parents really, the support has been insane. Because I asked to go to, or to find an agency, and my mom was like, say less. Let's find something, and we found something. I got to be a part of an agency, which is so important. Like, it's one of the most important things as an actor. You need to have an agent, someone that's going to back you, someone that's going to find the jobs for you. Because I would not have found the audition without an agent. But yeah, and this was like 2 years later, being a part of this agency, and I was like, you know what, actually this is not even working. They got me to go to this textbook photo shoot, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But anyway, it goes back to say, keep going, right? 2 years later, they give me this audition, and I go to this audition with my dad. My dad took me to this audition, and he waits for me. Like, those are like just special things that you take with your parents, man. Like, it's just like, wow, like, oh, anyway, I'm gushing. And so we're at this audition. Before I go in, this director comes through and says, do this one. And I'm like, okay, 5 minutes. Also been doing drama for 3 years now. This is my grade 10th year, and I've been doing this thing, and it's now becoming a major subject because I'm in grade 10. Great stuff. I do this thing in 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm ready. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's the first impressing. Cool, let's go. We go in the room. I kill the audition. And we have a chat also. Like, I'm nervous inside, but I'm like, I am going to talk and sell myself. You must know that, listen, I know how to read scripts. I can do it very quickly. My memory is good because I'm doing this at school. So I think that also helped, because by the time we got out of the audition room, she was like, okay.
Impressed.
You know what I'm saying? And we got the thing. My mom played some tricks when I got the gig. I get home from school this one day, and she's like, yeah, remember the audition you went to? I'm like, yeah. She's like, so yeah, here's an email. I read the email. The email says, you've been shortlisted for the role. I'm like, okay, cool. So we must cross fingers, we must pray, we must whatever. I give her the phone back. Guess what she does? She gives me the phone again, and the phone says, you've got the role. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
You could have gone straight to us.
You could just give me the actual email. So that was like, how to. So I think she's full of drama. But that's how I got the first gig. And I had to juggle that between school as well. And I had to leave sometimes. I don't even go to school. And I remember the first time I went into the table read, you know, next thing you know, you see someone you know from TV, Sharon from Generations. I'm like, I need to act like I'm fine here. Listen, it's stuff. I'm like really big names in the industry. And I was like, oh my God. But also again, I think also once you're meant for something, you need to own the room. I walked in there like, I've been knowing y'all. Okay? I see y'all, I respect y'all, but also just, you must be confident in your own skin as well. So that's where it started. And it came out in grade 11th year, yes, back to that. And it changed my life. It really changed my life, because I think that's where it got cemented, that this is what I want, this is where it's at, and this is where God wants me.
So before we continue, I want to hear getting your parents to support your journey, right? Particularly in the arts. It's not easy, particularly for black parents, because it's more of, do you think you can make a living out of this? It's like you're playing kind of thing. You know, having that kind of support, them, you know, even driving you to auditions. How important was that, and what did it mean at the time, or perhaps even now, in hindsight?
You know what? And I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
My parents have never made me feel like I'm not in the right career. Literally from the jump, from the beginning. It was never a thing where they were like, hey, Danam Kodwa, we don't know.
Yeah.
They were there. Like for a slight moment even, I never felt like, okay, maybe they allowed my dreams to prosper and be fruitful in whatever way that they needed to, and they were there. Even to this day, so like days aren't dark, you know, when you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a rough season. My mom, my pillar of strength. She's always there. And she knows, okay, she'll always say, even like with family groups or like with her statuses, that, oh, I wish and I pray for that day when this industry and this life that people think you're living, when that they think TV brings, really does come to life, and you get to live in the wealth that people think you actually have.
Yeah.
I pray for that day. And I'm like, that for me goes a long way, because the people that matter understand my journey, and I will never, I don't know, lose track of why it is that I'm here, or why I'm doing what I do. My parents have been everything for me.
Yeah.
Even my family in its entirety, my aunts that are like based here in Joburg, they've housed me and just really, really supported me throughout this journey. And yes, it's hard because they know the reality of the industry, right? Even my studying further, it was a thing of, if you love it, sure. And also I think it was great to see it in high school for them, because surely maybe in behind the curtains they do talk about it, and they're like, oh my God, this child, but in front of me, it's never been a thing for them. It's never been a thing where I feel like, okay, maybe I need to start thinking other things now. Maybe I need to start looking at a different plan B or whatever. No. It's always been a thing of, we see how much you love it, we see how much you're good at it, and we see how much I did film, by the way. I did behind the scenes instead of front. Okay. So that I was like, okay, cool. If I can't do acting, let me do something behind the scenes. So after 2 years in film school, thinking, you know what, actually, I really want to act. Eventually, God goes through, and there's an audition that I have to come to in Joburg, and I do that, and I get it. Great. And this was the first telenovela on Moja Love called Hope. I'm number 4 on the call sheet. I'm a lead. I'm young. I'm fresh. I'm thinking, yeah, this is the one. You know, this is launching me now. After this, there's no stopping me. Yeah. Life was like, okay, my dear, let's go. Like, listen. I was on a high. I was on cloud 9. I really enjoyed shooting that. The idea of waking up to do something enough every day, that rush is unmatched. And I was grateful. I prayed. I was living my dream, literally. Like I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I was even a motivational speaker. Like my posts were all about, you see when you are there, God is this, yay. I was really living my life. And then it ended abruptly, because the industry is like that, right? Channel is like, nah, there's no money for this anymore.
Were you ready for that?
No. I was like, excuse me? There's no way. I have just arrived. What am I saying? I just arrived, you know? And I mean, yes, I did really recklessly spend, because I'm young, I'm in a new city, I'm getting paid this amount of money, it's good money. I'm like, okay, cool, let's go, let's live our lives, you know? And we get lost in the sauce. And I was like, okay, all right, it is what it is. You have to pick up and carry on and keep going, you know. But that was the one where I thought, okay, you see now, this is it. And I think that taught me that you never arrive. Yeah. You never arrive.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you never arrive. What do you mean by that?
I mean, with each gig, it's almost like an audition. You must never think that this is the one that launches you. Yes, enjoy what the show brings, but always be prepared for the next, because with our gigs and our industry, you know, you're gonna get a gig for a year, and then 5 more years it's tough, it's rough, you know. 2 years it's dry, no one is calling you, because. And another thing is that your show, you will shoot it for 8 months, and for 5 years it's playing.
And
you know what I'm saying?
You're not getting
anything. You're not getting anything. So it's so important for us to know how to sort of even treat ourselves, or like present ourselves to the workspace, and also in our personal lives, so that we know that the long game is all that you have in mind. You can't act like this is the only moment that you have arrived, because it's not. You never arrive, because you're always going to have someone above you saying no, making the decision. When they find you there by the boardroom and your picture is on a presentation, someone is like, no, I don't want this one on my show. You know? Those things happen. So it's important for us to always just have the end in mind, the end not being the one gig. Yeah.
What I love about this is that we generally think it's glitz and glam, right? But you're painting the reality of it, and how for people that want to get into it, that they get to understand how it is and how it runs.
For me, I never want to sell a dream because it's not a dream, but because you're doing something you love, it makes it also worth it. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not saying also that there's things you need to take because it's your dream or it's what you want. No. Don't compromise also in the dream. But also know that the school fees to be paid. You know, like in every other industry, you need to pay your dues. You can't just think you'll arrive and you get your first leading gig and now you have established yourself in the industry. For some, it works. And that's the thing. Our journeys are not the same. Some of us have to have it harder than the others. And that's okay. You know, so people need to know that it's not easy. It's not it's not in Zwanyaneta. That's what we say in Khosi. You know, it's not in Zwanyaneta. That means it's not a small house that gets rained on. I don't know if that makes sense. But
it does.
It's not in Zwanyaneta.
Interesting discussions, and I think this gives you also an opportunity to learn, so you get to understand what the life of an actor is like. She is Vuyeleni. So she is Sikelelwa, and now I'm starting with
my surname. I'm Vuyeleni, please. Yes. Miss Vuyeleni in the house.
She is in the house. So different cultures, different personalities. How did you make sure that you're able to blend in and make it work for you? If you found that things are a bit tricky here and you're not sure.
Hey, I will always be grateful for my growing up once again. The adaptability,
it goes
right?
back there.
It goes back there. Like for me, I managed to get into any space and potentially thrive, right? And I think it goes in with this industry as well, with how I'm going from production house to production house. But more than anything, it's how you carry yourself. You know, how you respect people that are around you, people that you work with. Understand that this is it's an everybody game, like in a sense that it's you're not the only one. Just because you're not the end and be all of what we are doing here. Everyone that's here is supposed to be here. Everyone is important. They're playing a role. Without them, something is missing, right? So getting into that space, knowing that I am coming together with people to add or contribute as much as they are contributing to make this magic that we're doing. That's all. And whatever that arises that may not necessarily be to your taste. What are you here for? You're here to work, right?
True.
Are you getting the job done? Are you getting to set? Are you actioning when they say action? Sure, do that. Thrive in that. And then step off and go be yourself in your corner and come back and do what you like to do. What are you getting paid for? I think we need to also just start realizing that the focus should be, why am I here? Am I doing that? Because that's what I'm getting paid to do when I'm here. Everything else is just an add-on, but really just respect who you work with. Everyone that you work with needs to be there.
Any role that to this day for you still stands out? It could be about how you were able to execute it, or how challenging it was, or...
This is probably a bit biased, but I've got two, I think, and they aren't the most recent ones. Maybe it also has a lot to do with the growth that comes with playing those, right? And what they did for me in my career. Natasha from Adulting, crazy baby mama. Something that you would never see me be. Like,
but crazy is understatement.
Listen.
She's crazy mad.
Yes, she's a lunatic. And she was amazing. I really enjoyed her because she got me to step out of myself. I got to feel like I'm acting. You know, like I'm really stepping into someone's shoes and I am being the opposite of who I am. Because I had to fight for something I don't necessarily believe in. And I had to give her life, and I enjoyed that. It was a thrill. It was a ride playing her. And this recent one, Khosi. I've never had to immerse myself in someone so much and for so long. And it's needless to say that she has been one of my biggest characters yet in the industry or in my acting career. sure, she was living in two worlds, and she had to adapt between the differences, and really just I had to become her. Like, she was everything. And I carried her for a good 7 months. I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed her grace and her humility. And I think I also really resonated with her on those fronts as well. Her love for people, her wanting to help, just her love, you know, she really loved. And I enjoyed that. I love. And I think she got to do that a lot on the show as well. So, yeah, I think those two stand top tier.
Okay, so help us to get through over this. Natasha and Khosi came almost at the same time.
Technically.
Why did you shoot when?
Yeah, okay.
Which one when? Because now we see you on two things at the same time.
That's the question. So we shot Adulting last year. So like around October, November. I think the last call was in like around December. And you know, they had to stay with it. They had to do what they needed to do because you know, we need to give a fair chance to every part of production. And they launched in March. And literally, as it launches, it's the same week that I'm starting to get the preps going for Khosi. And God, you see, God is always operating. Because Natasha dies in Adulting, right? And that doesn't stop what God is trying to do, because God is saying, you enjoyed her here. Wait till I show you what I got for you. You know what I'm saying? Because when Adulting ended, I didn't know what was coming next. Right? Because I hadn't gotten the role, because it ended last year. And I was like, okay, cool. And funny enough, I got into the year with a lot of spiritual grounding. Like, I was really about to be, okay, cool, God, this is your year. Let's go. Let's do what you want to do, right? I was like, say less, baby girl, don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bam. And it happens, and the timelines are also so crazy, because we're launching Adulting this Sunday somewhere in Sandton, and people are talking, and in my mind I'm like, yo, if you only knew. Because people are just like, why did she die? And I'm like, because even my classmates also have those conversations. Hey Joe, like,
I think for me that was a down with it, to say, man, how can she die? Like, how?
Like that also.
How?
Like that
I mean, this is like the beginning, but it's the end.
Yes.
I'm like,
and
no.
Good dancer knows when to exit the stage. And that's what they did with Natasha. I really loved it.
The climax.
Yeah. I loved it. They were like, okay, cool, thanks. It was a good time. But also, one thing I always say is that Natasha's death was for Eric's storyline. And if we look at the show, the women there are there to support the gents. Because the story is about the gents. Completely. True. And Natasha's death was a move in Eric's arc. And I had to respect that. And I was graced with the most respectful.
She could have relocated. Why did she die?
She had to die. She had to die for Khosi to live. For Khosi to live, Natasha had to die.
Let's move to Khosi, because I think for me, what shows a good actor and what they know in terms of what should be delivered, and which, in my perception, it should be the most challenging thing. Having to play a character that would take you to many years ago, when you don't even have an idea of what was it like then. Right? But you literally takes us on a journey there, and it brings us to the current. What did it take for you to do that? I mean,
time. But thank you so much for that. You know, it goes back to me being present in the moment, right? And what it is that I'm handed over in that time. But what really helped me was walking into the old world blank, because I legit don't know what I'm walking into, right? So it goes back to, what kind of research do I do? Do I immerse myself in the research and go fully in and understand the old world? No, I can't. Because now it's almost like I'm playing myself, because I have to now keep working back, because I'm trying to minus what I know every time I step into the world. So in that sense, my prep was not to know about the world, but it was to remain like a blank canvas and learn as I go. And I have to keep remembering that I don't know anything. This is a new world for me. And I need to take the audience with me in a, what is happening? Why are these people dressed like this? Why do they react to me like I'm a witch? They don't know hair, they don't know nails. Like, you know, why are they so backwards in their thinking? You know, why would you believe in something that's like oppressing? You know.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of journey. It was an understanding of you're stepping into something that's unknown and you don't know it.
Yeah.
So don't act like you do know it. Yeah.
What
And
a
of course-
contrast.
Completely.
Because I mean, what you show is like you have knowledge of everything.
Yeah.
It's like you've lived there before. Then you're able to bring this delivery.
Yeah. I have to immerse myself in knowing that I have to survive here. You know, yes, in the first few days, you need to look at what is happening. Why are you guys like this? But then you realize the more you act foreign, the more you are a target. So, adapt, once again. So, Khosi had to adapt to her environment. She had to understand that, okay, cool, I don't know what's happening, but maybe let's act like we do, you know, and learn as we go so that we can keep taking what we can to get it to work for us. Because essentially, in the first time of her being there, she had to survive.
Yeah.
You know, she had to try not to get killed because she was a target. You know what I'm saying? And she had to do what she had to do, and in the process got to have a love, you know. Yeah, and I think that love helped her. Yeah.
But thank you for that. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
And as an actress, you also play different roles. I'm curious about having to play a lead.
Yeah.
What responsibility does it bring for you, and how do you usually make sure that you know you manage it well, the best way you can?
Leadership is not easy, right? And it's not different when it is in the acting sphere as well, right? It's understanding that whatever you do is you've got a load on your shoulders. You've got eyes on you. Like I remember having a talk with one of our commissioning editors at the launch of Adulting. Actually.
Okay. Yeah.
She's like, I actually want to talk to you. And she's like, so just remember who you are, right? Don't let this get to your head. Don't, you know, all the, because they've lived and they've seen people change, right? And she gave me the talk. And it was funny for me to be here in this moment, because when I looked at it, I saw God saying, I've been preparing for this moment this whole time. Like I've been prepared to be here. And stepping into Khosi and stepping into that as 6, I was ready, man. I had God over me. He led the way, and it was a thing of respecting everyone that is on set. Like if you were to be a fly on set, you'd think these are people are your friends, most everyone here is your friend. You know, like I step onto set, literally, like everyone is like, yo, what's up? How you doing? Like, and I cared about everyone, and it was genuine, because I think Hella Media had something special there. Everyone that was put together in that space had something about them. Their personalities were amazing. Their spirits, their energies were like for this. It was a positive space with young people. That was another thing. It was young people thriving in their specific fields. And it was a beautiful space to be in. And I think I didn't have to necessarily put on a leadership garment or role. I lived and I became myself. And again, knowing where I come from and whose child I am, led. That's what led. God was like, okay, now let's give props to your mom and dad and what they did. Go out there and be a child that is respectful, that understands people, that has compassion, and really just wants to be in a community of positive energy. And that's what I did. Like it had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. 6. You see, time.
That part. Yeah.
So where to from here? Do we have to get a sneak peek of what's coming?
No sneak peek, guys.
How much? Leave us with something.
No, guys, you know what? What I can leave you with is that God is in control. God is in charge.
That's it.
Yeah, literally. And it's not even a thing to say there's something I'm hiding, because there's nothing I'm hiding. I want you guys to know that I'm open. You know, I'm open. I'm believing God for something, and also I'm waiting on Him. I'm expectant. I'm like, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, because it may not even be in acting. It may be wherever. And I'm not even saying. I'm not being cryptic. I'm not saying that there's something without saying that there's something. Right. I'm really just saying I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I am allowing age no 2 to sink in. I'm allowing Khosi to live and live in my body.
Yeah.
She needs to leave me now.
Yeah.
I need to part ways with her and understand that our journey has been amazing. Thank you so much. It was a great opportunity. But now it's time for me to get back to me and understand and just ground myself and also just reconnect properly with God as me, you know, and create space for whatever else that's coming.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Aish. Can I steal a moment right now? Right? Can you allow me to stay just a moment? So I've had a privilege of being among a lot of actors, and having studied psychology, you get to read human behavior, particularly that I did industrial psychology. And I think one of the things that I have observed is that actors that are brilliant, you find that over time they sort of lose themselves to be part of the characters that they have played, particularly if they've played for long, right? For me, it's advantage and a disadvantage, right? Because then we actually now losing Sikelelwa in the process, right? And Tuso said this when she was talking to Oprah, that when she was doing the
underground railroad,
and she said that there was a scene where she fully got into the character, that when they said cut, she had to say psychologist immediately. It's a different space in South Africa.
Completely.
You don't have a psychologist on set. And you're now saying it's time to let Khosi go.
Have to.
Can you share with us how do you ensure that you maintain Sikelelwa and the other characters, you also give us the best that you give, but able then to come back to who you are?
It goes back to finding a way of being, a living, a routine, right? A ritual, so to say, where you know this is how I step in and this is how I step out. Right? And it goes with time, right? You have to, it's not something you get immediately, because even for myself, people used to ask, so what's your routine? How do you get into character? How do you... And for the longest time, I didn't have an answer, because I really don't. I genuinely don't have something that I'm mindful of that I do. But I guess some things become automatic action to us, where you just get into read a script. Okay, well, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing today. The minute you step into makeup, the minute you step into wardrobe, you know that now I'm Natasha. Now I'm Khosi, right? And even that same process, when you take off at the end of the day, you take off the makeup, you take off the clothes, the character's wardrobe, you leave her there. You're like, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm done with you today. I'm going home now, you know? And it's an open conversation as well, because that's someone that's living inside of you, right? And as I grow and listening to other people that are in the industry that have been doing this for longer, I take up some things, some tips, and see and try them out as well. Like when I started Khosi, I wrote her a letter. And I was like, okay, cool, this is us. Hi, Unjani, how are you doing? Are you ready to come in as I'm about to take you on? This is where I am, this is where you're finding me. Let's go. You know, I welcome you. Come and take home in my space, in me. And now also I do need to do that as well when I'm leaving her and say goodbye.
But that sounds spiritual.
It is. And there's something you don't even align with. So you need to always keep in check and understand that this is not me, this is the character. So always keep checking. For example, you know that it's been a hectic 7 months of shooting, I haven't been doing the things I like. And you go back to, Konje, what do I love doing? I like going to have a coffee alone in a coffee shop and just reading, you know? I like going skating, I like doing this, I like doing that. So just to find ways to bring you back to you. Yeah. Sure.
Amazing. Sikelelwa Vuyeleni. Vuyeleni, apologies.
No worries.
Bongani says, Natasha was a crazy woman that I so related to in a lot of ways, because I was going through the same thing, but she made me understand why things turned out the way they turned out.
It's
right?
true.
And there's Tabo from Bloemfontein that says, I love Six not only as an actress, but she sounds amazing on radio today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Gareth from East London says, keep up the good work. Next time, can you do like a colored role? We want to hear more of that Afrikaans.
Nia, Agibali.
But thank you so much for sending messages. I can only get here because of the time, and let me thank you so much for making time to come and spend the evening with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We're wishing all the best, and we have a saying here at Opulence Radio that we believe in, that from your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
So keep going. We keep rooting for you. We keep supporting you. Whatever project that you're going to work next, we are there with you.
Amen.
All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is beautiful. Thank you for allowing me to step out of me and do things that I've never done before. This is a beautiful experience. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Amazing stuff. And she's been brilliant. She's very worried, like, hey, am I gonna? But look, she got here. She nailed it. She nailed it.
I should have seen me. Yes. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, and that's how we're wrapping up for this.